I was fortunate enough to be able to join the United Way 211 operators in the Emergency Operations Center and answer phone calls following Hurricane Irma. And what I thought was important about that is that typically after a disaster, something like Irma, we tend to think of numbers. And we think of number of people displaced, number of people without power. But it's a little harder to put your arms around what those numbers mean and realize that they mean people. My day sitting in there with the other 211 operators was important for me because it let me hear from the son or daughter who was out of state and hadn't heard from a parent in days and were worried sick. What happened to them? What's become of them? It let me talk to the group of folks who were in the senior living center who had to choose between walking down 6 flights of stairs to an area where they had water and food and they could talk to other people, or stay in their room where they had their medicines because they couldn't walk back up once they got down there. I talked to the wife who was worried about her husband because he was dependent on bottled oxygen and he was down to his last canister and didn't know what to do. And they all called, they talked to the United Way people. We gave them assistance in pointing them in the right direction, to shelters, to services, points of distribution for those supplies. More than that, I heard all the people around me just giving comfort and letting people know that there was someone who cared and they weren't just a number, they weren't just a figure in the number of people that were affected by the hurricane. They were real people and there was someone out there listening to them. And I thought that was what was invaluable about being able to be there for that day. I think it's what everybody needs to supplement their generosity. I think all of us generally want to do good, we want to help people, but sometimes it's hard to connect the dollar that you give with the good that it does. It's sometimes hard to put a face or a name or a person to the statistic or to the pledge. And what is essential and what I thought was so important about that opportunity is it let me do that. It let me realize this is a human being, a person who's in need on the other end of the line, and I was able to help them. And it wasn't just me. These calls were coming in by the thousands, by the tens of thousands. There was a room full of operators doing the same sort of thing, and it was really fantastic to see, and it really helps recharge you and let you know why you do what you do. I think if you can make a difference, why would you choose not to? And sometimes I tend to think that we all get caught up in our daily lives and our routines and the things that are immediately important to us, and we don't kind of stick our head out of the foxhole, stick our head up out of, above the prairie and look around and see the good that we can do if we'll only take the initiative to do it. And if one person takes the initiative and does that, then somebody else sees that. They'll emulate that. They'll follow that example. And so you can start something. You can start a groundswell of activity if you just take the initiative to do it, if you overcome that inertia to sit there and let someone else do it. I sometimes ask myself, if not me, then who? Who should do it? Who will do it?